Welcome to another tutorial from Master the Oracle. For more tutorials, see our website at www.rcoracle.net. Also, make sure you sign up to our newsletter, Oracle Tips and Tricks. So just go to rcoracle.net, oracle-tips-signup.html, and enter your name, your email address, and your name, and subscribe. And that's it. You'll be added to our list and on the list for updates to our tutorials. We're going to look at one of the basic SQL commands for data manipulation. In this case, we're going to look at the SQL, the select command. So the basic format of the select command is select from table, select star from table. In this case, the star is an abbreviation meaning select every column from the table. It saves us having to type out all the column names if we one by one if we want to select them all. So if we select star from table, that means retrieve every column in the table. So we'll pick a table, in this case emp2. So we select star from emp2, we run this, and we see that we get 50 rows, and we've selected every column from the table. We can go, you look at the bottom of the screen, we see we can select all the columns. If we just want to select one column, that's easy. We just specify the name of the column. So we select employee underscore ID from emp2. If we run that, then we just get that column selected. And if we don't want all the columns, we want more than one, we can add extra columns, but just by separating them with a comma. So we can select employee ID, department ID, and last name from emp2, and we can run this just like that. So there we are, that's the basic format select statement. So what we're doing here is we're selecting columns from our table. It doesn't have to be a table strictly speaking, but for the sake of this tutorial we'll assume it is. And it doesn't have to be a column name strictly speaking, but for example we could append last name with, or we could convert last name all into uppercase by modifying the return value with a function, in this case upper, and again if we run that, then it converts the last name into uppercase, and we can add things onto the employee ID, and we can multiply the department ID. So we'll do this, so we'd add 10 onto the employee ID, and we'll double the department ID and run that again. As you can see, we get 110 as the first employee, and the department ID times 2 is 118. That's for King. So if we change that back again, we'll see what it was originally. We'll see that the employee ID was 100 and department ID was 90. So that's just to show you that you can select an expression from the database, or we can select all columns just by with the abbreviation star, like so. But what if we don't want to select all the rows? Well, then we need to add a where clause onto our select statement. So the where clause gives us the conditions that the rows must meet for them to be returned to whatever or to the user. So we'll say select star from emp2 where the department ID is greater than 9, for example. Just so the department ID is greater than 9, we run that statement and we get a lot. So we can restrict that, or we can change that to say equals 9. And in this case, no rows match. So obviously, depending on what you put in your where clause, depends on what results you'll get back. I think they started at 90 actually. So try 90. And there we do, we get 3 employees. So what if we want more than one condition? If we want to narrow down the the rows that we're going to get to just one. We don't know exactly the record or the ID of the, we don't have a unique identifier for the record, or we might want a range of conditions that might apply to more than one record. So we could say, but the department ID is 90 and the job ID is add VP, and we'd run that statement again. This time we only get 2 rows, and we can keep on adding conditions if we need to narrow it down more. If we need to narrow it down more. So last name equals DHAN. Okay, we've got caps lock on, so we need to turn caps lock off. Try again. So in this case, there's only one record with the last name Dahan. Job ID is add VP, and department ID is 90. What if we want to make some of these conditions optional? Well, we can change the AND to an OR. So by doing this, we'll retrieve all employees who work for department ID 90. We'll also retrieve all employees who have a job ID of add VP, and we'll also retrieve all employees who have the last name of Dahan. So we run that statement, and there we go. So just to prove it, let's look at the department ID, which is here. So we've got 2 records with department ID 90, and the rest all have department ID of 100. So the job ID, we've got 2 add VPs, we've got 1 FI manager, and we've got 5 FI accounts, job IDs, and we have 1 record with the last name of Dahan, and all the rest have obviously different names. So that shows how we can restrict the records that we retrieve from the database by using a where clause. This tutorial was brought to you by Ask the Oracle. For more Oracle and PL SQL tutorials, hop over to our website at www.asktheoracle.net.